All right, welcome back to Builders, Makers, Doers, everybody. With me today, we're going to have a great conversation with Stephen Cook, who's the president and CEO of PSC Construction. They are a heavy civil construction company based in Omaha, Nebraska. It's going to be a fun conversation talking about how he went from being a heavy equipment operator all the way up to president and CEO of the company. And so stick around and enjoy the show. All right, Stephen, thanks for coming in.
Absolutely.
Fun. Yeah. So we go way back, which is fun from some tips groups we were reminiscing about a minute ago.
Yes.
So it's fun to reconnect and kind of see where you're at today. Talk a little bit about your journey at PSC and kind of where the company's at today. So let's just start there. Give everybody your background a little bit so they kind of know who you are, and then we'll talk about how you started and where you guys are at today.
Yeah. Wow. Born and raised in Omaha, Nebraska. Been here my whole life. Started with PSC Construction back in 2013.
Yep.
Have a huge passion for the underground excavation, dirt moving industry, business as a whole as well.
Yeah.
Realistically, started as a heavy equipment operator and just working in the field.
Yeah.
I think
Because that was I know you had a couple, your own business before that, et cetera, but that's your background, right? Was in heavy equipment, dirt moving, et cetera, right?
The vast majority of my work life has been in that industry. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then started with PSC in 2013 as a heavy equipment operator.
Yep. In 2013, I was a heavy equipment operator. Over the years, moved up from field foreman to superintendent. Did a long stretch in just estimating.
Yep.
Also project management and estimating as our reach grew and our project sizes doubled and tripled over the years. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Yeah. So talk a little, well, then where you guys are at today? What kind of work are you doing? What size of jobs? Just give us a little bit of the demographic of the company and what you guys are doing. And then I definitely want to dig into your progression.
Perfect. Today, we are sitting at 45 field employees.
Okay. Yeah.
We specialize in heavy industrial underground excavation. A lot of work with the data center sites that are coming up all over the Midwest.
It is insane.
It is. It's a great niche that we found, supporting other contractors on those sites and just helping the infrastructure of that come together.
Yeah. Yeah. So for somebody that doesn't know, just give the layman's description of number one, these job sites are massive. And I don't think people ever actually truly understand the scope of these data centers. But then what's your role on those job sites? What are you guys going in and doing? It's easy to say we dig holes, but it's much more complex than that.
It is. It is much more complicated. But as I said, we support other contractors on site, providing their underground needs. So whether it's just an excavation for a communications vault or an electrical vault, or it is storm sewer, piping and pathways and infrastructure itself, that not only supports the site, but also the community around it, keeping our creeks and rivers and streams and lakes and everything clean and safe as well.
Yeah, that's oftentimes something you don't think about. What's been, has it changed in how you guys have operated going on to those job sites? Because I know it's a much different type of a job site than, your standard just commercial
Yes,
building or
so
whatever.
It has, for us particularly, we've always been in heavy industrial.
Yeah.
So we're not a company that you're going to see in a neighborhood working on housing developments and things like that. Our background comes from corn milling facilities, ethanol plants, fertilizer plants.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Those types of facilities where we've also helped build the infrastructure of those facilities as well.
Yeah, so you've always been on big, complex jobs. Is there anything different about the data centers that, we just hear contractors all the time, they can be sometimes difficult to work with. They can be very stringent on standards and, all those types of things. Is there anything, your perspective on that, or has it always been like that? It's always been what we've done. And
luckily for us, it's really been how
good,
we've positioned ourselves
Yeah.
and set our company up. And so, yes, it can be complicated, but that's what we're here to do.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so now what I'm really interested in is let's go back to the start. You know, you start at PSC. Did you have visions and goals of one day, being in the position you're at, or was it, talk through that progression and just your thoughts as you were starting day one and working your way up through the ranks?
No, I don't. The simple answer is no.
Yeah.
I love heavy equipment operating. I love leading people. Mm-hmm. Business in general has always been a huge passion of mine. Mm-hmm. So to go all the way back to the beginning of 13 with PSC Construction as a heavy equipment operator, I literally took that job as let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
No expectations. Go in and do the best I can do every single day and just work hard with a good work ethic and make it happen. And
that's awesome.
Ultimately, that is the base of that is how you crawl up a ladder like this.
Yeah. Yeah, so you get in there day one, you're working your butt off, doing good work. Just give us that kind of progression. Did you apply for the next job, or did they come and say like, hey, I think you'd be good at, the foreman, or how does that kind of work? Because I know just to provide context on my thoughts here, there's a lot of people sitting in that job that think this is where I'm stuck.
Yeah.
I just am going to operate equipment for the rest of my life. And nothing wrong with that, but they don't realize that there are paths within companies to grow.
No, and there is. For me, it was more of a provide a solid work ethic, provide good information to support the team around me. I had a superintendent that I worked under that him and I just connected well. He would ask me questions just as an operator that would help him do his job better. I think ultimately just being a positive resource with good information and knowledge and background naturally helped that progression.
Yeah.
I don't think I was ever a time that I applied for another position within the company. It was cool. More of a, hey, I think this would be a good fit going forward.
Yeah.
Hey, I think this would be a good fit. What do you think of this? Open communication.
Yeah, that's cool. Do you attribute that to the leaders of the company and how they operate?
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the structure of what we've always had as an organization and how it's evolved over time, but yet still kept that open door policy, open communication. Yeah. I still, as the owner, meet with field superintendents and operators and talk to the guys on the day-to-day basis.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I can hear that in some of the things you're talking about, and it seems like it's kind of ingrained in what you guys do at the company level. But so then talk through that, getting into leadership perspective, because that's much different than getting out and operating the equipment and doing the job. I have a mentor that, from a leadership perspective, that said, leadership's not rocket science. It's way harder. Because helping people develop and do their job and all the things is difficult. You're working with a lot of different personalities. So talk about how you made that transition to go from doing the work to leading people doing the work.
Yeah. So again, I know I keep going back to it, just kind of happens. Yeah. But, one day you find yourself operating and working with the client, explaining what's going on, to having a few other team members out there with you, explaining it to them. And then it evolves into a project manager position or a superintendent position where you're leading the crew of people putting the project together, understanding it, helping them understand it, and doing so naturally in a manner of just open communication, respect for one another, and teaching.
Do the basics right, and a lot follows. I mean, that's a lot of it. Do you have any thoughts around? I think a lot of times people out there make leadership, or they're thinking about they're operating the equipment, and just there's this stigma or this perspective that I don't want to deal with that stuff, or I'm not trained to do that, and then the flip side can be, if you go from operating the equipment, you can get some guys that respect that because you did the work. Some guys are the opposite and be like, who the hell are you? Like, I was doing the same work you were doing. Why do you get to tell me what to do now? Like, how do you approach that? And what's your just perspective on that, the leadership of that?
So that does and doesn't happen. It's, again, just goes back to your base knowledge.
Yeah.
If you're leading me in a task, for example, or I'm leading someone in a task, I'm teaching them the way I know how to do it and the way I've done it, not necessarily saying it's the right or wrong way, but also having the open ears to understand what they want to do and how they want to approach it. Understanding the why behind things, that's talked about a lot.
Yep.
How things get done and why they get done in a particular fashion. I think explaining all of those pieces and communicating well with the employees is where that respect comes to be able to lead them.
Yeah. And that humility to be able to say like, hey, this is how I was doing it. It doesn't mean that there's not a better way to do it.
Exactly.
Especially with those, long time people in the roles. But it can go both ways. I mean, we've seen it where you have a high performer in a role that doesn't mean they're going to be a good manager of people in the role, because it's a much different skill set. And it can be hard to transition into that. And so I think it's kind of cool to see that you just naturally did that over time.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm also one where continuing education is a huge thing for me, whether it's books, seminars, just engulfing yourself in all the information.
Yeah. I totally agree.
Thousands of books and podcasts and radio shows. And if you have an interest in them, you will gain knowledge from it.
Yeah. Knowledge is almost, it's not an excuse for, or lack of knowledge isn't an excuse for anything anymore. Like the knowledge is out there, especially with AI. You can ask it any question and it's going to give you a great, I just did one the other day where I was like, look at this YouTube channel and then use their content and build me this, I think it was a training planner. And I'm like, it just references everything on all the YouTube videos, and it was pretty cool. But I mean, the knowledge is out there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So now talk, okay, you've worked your way up. As you're leading the company now, what are you trying to instill? What values are you guys working on? How do you run the company versus, working with the individuals? I mean, you still are, but.
So as I worked my way up through the company, I spent the last 2 years as the director of operations.
Okay, yeah. So you're working across a lot of different divisions.
Correct. Overseeing multiple different job sites, superintendents across the board, project managers, everybody else in that same organization, but on a bigger scale as the director. After directors, I was in the director position when I purchased the company. And how we're leading the company today is a mirror image to how I led it then in the director position. The former owner was hands off for the most part. Him and I would have weekly meetings, but for the most part, I was in the director position, really in charge of running the day-to-day needs of the company. Yeah.
So is that just kind of a natural thing too, where you were in that role and it just kind of naturally led to you leading the company basically, even though you weren't the CEO at the time?
Yeah, it really, again, I keep going back to that. It just kind of naturally happened and fell into place. But we did it with our core values. We did it with strategic planning. We did it with all of the structures that a good organization that has well thought plans does things.
Yeah, well, and I love that because I think, I was just having this conversation with somebody that there's two, kind of avenues to getting authority, let's say, and I'm doing air quotes for those listening. But you can go in with a title and you can say, hey, I'm CEO now and you're going to listen to me. Like, that's going to garner some authority, but it's not going to garner the right authority a lot of times because people aren't going to maybe respect that, or, you haven't earned the right to be able to say certain things or do whatever. Or there's, like you were just saying, where you get in, you're doing the work, you maybe don't even have the title yet, but you're viewed as a leader because you're doing the right things. And I think that's the best way to go about it. And then, naturally when you acquire the business or get the title of president and CEO or whatnot, they're like, well, yeah, duh, you have been for a while.
Right.
I think that's awesome. And so now you're acquired the business. You were telling me a little bit about that process of just, seems like that came about pretty quick. So talk about your mindset there. Because again, this is a great thing for those listening that they think it's just this, how would I ever buy a business? How would I do it's an insurmountable hurdle sometimes to people.
It is. To be honest, looking back on it, it was a whirlwind of really 6 months.
Yeah.
I had the offer to purchase, and it took about 2 months to get it formally on paper as to what it would look like.
Yeah.
It took me about 3 months to assemble the team of individuals.
Of the advisors and
yes. So I'm a firm believer in hiring and working with people that do the things that they do professionally.
Yeah.
So I love excavation. I love underground construction. I love leading an organization, but I'm not an attorney. I'm not a banker.
Yeah.
I'm not a financial advisor. So I assembled a team of probably some of the greatest business people in Omaha that I spent time with, sat down and explained the opportunity to, and they were 100% on board, understood the task at hand.
Yeah.
And we really put everything together as a team between the months of October with a closing date of December 1st.
That's crazy.
And it was absolutely nuts, but the team was fantastic, and they're still part of it today.
And it was part of that, I assume, was, the prior owner, I assume, was working really well with you to like make that happen.
Extremely well. Yeah. Him and I communicated almost weekly on the transaction, where we were in the stages of it, how it was going to be structured. And again, it was just a great communication between all parties, my team, him and I working together, and then just making it happen in the end.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because like when we're talking to businesses we work with, we're recommending like 5 to 8 years of prep to, be ready to sell your company, or in this case, internally perpetuate it. Even like that's how we would look at that transaction. And you did it in like 6 months.
Yeah. Everybody to this day just looks back on it and says that was a feat that could be very difficult to replicate that. But we did it, and
can be done.
It can be done.
Yeah.
And we are continuing on growing and doing great things.
Yeah.
It's been fantastic.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so, I assume then, because again, you can dive into the details of it as much or as little, but what I think a lot of people that want to buy a business, maybe they're working in a business, want to approach the owner. But the other thing that you can realize is that the financing side of it is a big, they don't understand how they could ever, I don't know how I can get that much money to go buy this business, but you don't realize like there are a lot of ways to do it, and the business can be what helps fund a lot of that purchase, right? So you might go out and get a note to buy out the current owner, or maybe you did it over time. I don't know what your structure is, but not to get into the details of your transaction. Where was your mindset in that? Were you looking at it like I'm buying you and you're done, or is it a longer term process, or just how'd that work?
So we went through many different scenarios of how that was going to play out. In the end, it did play out in the best way of, we're just going to agree on a final bottom dollar, acquire it, and be finished.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was a clean
break. Awesome.
It was clean. It was done well that way. I will say that last June, when this started, April, June, somewhere in that time frame, I was in the position of, I have no idea how this is going to happen.
Yeah, right? I think that's most people.
Right. Yeah. Like, I have no idea. But what I did know, like I said, was I needed a team.
Yeah.
I needed a good attorney. I needed a good CPA, and I needed a good banker. And the good financial advisor. Once I got all of those individuals in the room, they were the ones that were like, absolutely, we can make this happen. This is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Because that's what they do.
Yeah, no, they do it every day, 100%. And I think when you have the relationship with, the prior owner that you did, that makes it a big difference. Everybody's aligned in the objectives. But it still doesn't mean that it's an easy process, I think.
It was still a feat. It was an experience that few people will ever have.
Yeah.
And I guess in the listeners listening, that it can be done.
Yeah.
Don't let the task of it scare you. Put the right team together, and it absolutely can happen.
I think that's the best advice is you don't have to have all the answers. You can go find the people that have the answers and do a lot of great things.
Yep.
So then what's next? Looking forward, what's your vision for PSC? What's the next chapter?
So PSC Construction is going to continue to grow throughout the Midwest. We currently have projects in Nebraska, Iowa, and Oklahoma.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
We are exploring all avenues through, like I said, the entire Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
We recently moved our office to Omaha. That helped us.
Where was it before?
We were previously, for all the years before, we'd been in Blair.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Which is just north of Omaha, for those listening. Yep.
We're a Blair local community. Great community. Supported that community for years. Part of my vision for PSC is to expand a trucking division.
Oh,
helping with the logistics of the construction industry in itself. And so a hub in Omaha just makes that so much easier for us to connect with the businesses we want to do work with.
Yeah, and that's kind of adjacent to your work to a degree, right? I mean,
it is. Yes.
Got to haul dirt somehow.
So we've got to haul dirt. We've got to haul heavy equipment. Yeah. We've got to haul all the materials and things all across the Midwest that we're working. Totally. So we partner up with other companies, and we've recently acquired a few trucks ourselves and are offering those services too.
That's pretty cool.
Just growing the industry.
Yeah.
It's as we talk more about what our growth plans are and how we're doing things and all those items in our strategic planning meetings, it all comes down to the people.
Oh, yeah.
And I know on many of your shows previous to this, you talk about the people of all the work we do. And at the end of the day, we can buy all the equipment. We can buy the fanciest things and technology and all that stuff. But the people are really what make it all truly happen. And I believe that.
Yeah, and obviously, we talk, I think probably on almost every show, is there's a general theme to all of it, which is like finding good people is the key. So talk about that a little bit. I mean, what are you guys doing to recruit, to keep good people? How do you view that? What's that look like?
So first and foremost, it comes to, as an industry, we hold ourselves to a higher standard as a contractor in the industry with safety, with our core values, how we treat our employees, what we do for them, and the culture as a whole. Mm-hmm. So the culture at PSC Construction is one where, for example, the last 6 new hires we've had have been referrals from people within our organization because they want their friends, their family, their acquaintances to come work with us.
Yeah, they're proud of it. That's awesome.
And that is probably one of the best compliments an employee can give an owner is, I want my friends and family to come work with you, with us. In the same breath, it's also been probably one of our largest challenges. And I say that because we promote growth within our company, just like I did. And how we grow each and every one of our individuals to what they want to do and how they want to take their career. And what avenues we can provide them to go from a skilled labor digging in the hole excavations, digging by hand, shoveling dirt. How do we take that individual and give them the tools to become the next project manager down the road, right? So that is a challenge that we face, but we're hitting it head on with all the different avenues through Metro Community College, through Southeast Community College, different places like that. Yeah.
Well, and I think, like you said, the best recruiting is referrals from your current team. They know who you are. They know who they want to work with too. That's another thing is, like, they probably aren't going to bring in a-holes, because they don't want to work with them. And so that's a big deal. It takes a lot of that pressure off of ultimately, you as the leader to go out and find the next person. But I think that's a great way to look at it. So then, are you doing anything? You talked a lot there about development, talent development. Anything in particular stand out that you guys are trying to do that leans into your experience at the company to continue to develop your team?
We do it with mostly hands-on training, spending time with the individuals.
Yeah, getting to know them, and
spending time in the equipment, providing opportunities for them to take courses outside of the work hours, or within the work hours if something comes up that they can do.
Yeah.
Just really being there to listen and lead by example.
Mm-hmm.
Part of training is just living and breathing and doing the things that you need them to do the way you want them to do yourself, so they can just watch it happen.
That's great. Yeah, learn by doing and learn by watching, and totally. No, I think that's great. So we always love to ask these couple questions too on almost every show, and I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on this one. But you guys work on data centers, massive projects all over. What one project sticks out that you're driving down the road and every time you see, you're just like, man, I'm proud of that one. That one sticks out as like, maybe it's just the type of project, or you overcame something, or, what's one that pops out?
Oh, there's probably a couple, but there's one in particular over in Council Bluffs. We were part of building a grain handling facility. This would have been 2017, I believe, 16, 17, back there. It was one of the first projects that I had fully estimated and was project managing, kind of supervising at the time. We were much smaller then. Mm-hmm. And it had engineered excavation with sheet piling, and we were down by the river, so it had dewatering, and it was just very intricate. The deepest part of the excavation that was engineered was like 23 feet deep, which is deep.
Just even the shoring.
And it was just, it was quite the feat. So that is one particular project that had so many challenges to overcome. And I just remember pushing through. And now every time I drive by there, I'm like, oh my gosh, that was such a fun challenge, but it was probably lost a couple hairs on it.
I can imagine there's a few that you probably lost a couple hairs on, but yeah, I think that's so cool because you get this is one different thing we talk a lot about too in our businesses is, you're building something tangible, you're doing tangible work. We live vicariously through our clients that do tangible work, right? But I just think that's so cool because it's just a whole different beast. But let's do the flip side of that then. Does a job or really anything within the business stick out as a big challenge that you guys had to overcome?
Oh, I would say time and time again, the construction industry, specifically as a subcontractor, sometimes a subcontractor of a subcontractor, so like a third tier. It is a unique industry where a lot of times the subcontractors wind up financing the projects.
Oh, yeah.
Because I buy a material that I pay for in 30 days and submit a pay application that gets paid in 45 to 60 days, sometimes 90 days, and we fill the gap.
Yeah, and you don't think about that a lot of times.
Yeah, you do. You hear about it all the time.
Yeah.
It is a challenge in our industry that is unique to the construction industry. I mean, you don't go out for dinner and have a steak and tell them that you're going to pay the bill in 30 to 45 days.
Yeah. Oh, and trust me, the whoever you're paying, whoever has the AR on that is waiting. Or I guess the AP on the accounts payable on it is going to wait their 45 days.
Yeah. So that has been a challenge, but I will say that we again have just put together such a great team that we're able to take those challenges and forecast out and just really work through all of that stuff.
Yeah. Plan for it and know that, they're probably going to pay late and we're going to have, That's interesting though, just on a lot of again, when you're not in the industry or you're not seeing those big jobs where those are little nuances that you don't figure out. And if you're getting into it for the first time, you're probably going to learn through a little bit of learn by experience, Yeah. and you got those too. No, I think that's awesome. Those are definite challenges that are you're right, pretty unique to the construction business. So, well, what else have we not talked about? I mean, thinking about, again, your journey, where PSC's at today, what have we not talked about that you think is something you are proud of, want to make sure we hit on?
Oh boy, our brand in general.
Yeah.
The way PSC has evolved over the years, and I've been such part of it. It's really, I wake up every day and I'm just like, I cannot believe I'm leading this organization. This is such a phenomenal opportunity.
Yeah.
Like, I am privileged to be able to do this and have a passion
great
for the
perspective.
industry
And
the people associated with it. And from the clients to the subcontractors to the general contractors to everybody across the board, just the relationships and how it really comes together it's a unique industry. It's challenging. It's fun. It's all of the emotions every single day. And it's exciting. And to say, to see younger people coming up in this industry, I had a great quick story. I had an employee that's sophomore in college right now. He's worked for us. He's worked for us for a couple summers, then goes to school and then comes back. He pulled me aside the other day and was like, I don't think I'm going to go back to college. And I said, no. You absolutely have to finish. You come this far. He's like, I just love working here so much
that's cool.
I don't want to go back to school. And so long story short, we had a conversation. He's going to transfer schools, stay working. We're going to work with him to get his construction management degree and hopefully stays lifetime employee.
That's awesome. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with the trades over the next, decade, let's say, because there's a lot of young people that are realizing, like, I don't have to go to college. That's not the only path.
Right.
It's like I was just talking to some friends of ours that it's like when I was graduating high school, like it felt like that was the only path. Like, you don't want to go and work in construction, do you? And now it's like not that it wasn't back in those days, but like it's just a different perspective on what we need now. And it's coming back to say we need guys with tool belts and gals with tool belts out building stuff. we have a shortage.
And in the technology of today, down to the hand tools all the way up to the heavy equipment it's a completely different industry from 10 years ago in the past. I mean, it's becoming less physical. There's tools to make
that's true
ergonomics and the lifespan of a construction worker better. And being on top of that is a priority of ours as well. Making sure our employees have all that technology and ability.
Yeah, and then you already mentioned safety, goes into that where the more you can take advantage of those things and the new technology, you create a better and safer work environment, and it all comes around. So that's awesome.
100%, absolutely.
Well, awesome. This has been great. This has been fun to reconnect, learn about this next chapter for you, and I think everybody's taken a lot of good stuff away. So this has been awesome. I appreciate the time.
Wonderful. Thanks for having me.